Welcome to this explainer. Today we're getting into something I absolutely love, a hidden mechanic behind real, lasting success. We are breaking down some incredible source material that reveals how life transformation actually happens. And look, spoiler alert here, it is not through massive, dramatic leaps. Instead, it comes down to one highly intentional, fiercely protective habit: daily self-study. We're going to explore exactly why the precise information you choose to feed your mind every single day is literally the ultimate deciding factor in the trajectory of your entire future.
Okay, let's dive right in. You know the dream, right? We've all bought into it at some point. That one massive breakthrough, that perfectly timed lucky break, where the stars just magically align for an overnight success. But the reality? The reality uncovered here is much quieter. Most lives just do not change in one dramatic movie montage moment. They change incrementally. They're shaped by a random book you read, a specific lesson you truly absorb, or a mistake you actually sit down and study instead of just trying to ignore. It's this daily, unglamorous growth that shapes how you think, which shapes how you decide, which ultimately shapes how you live.
So that brings us to a pretty massive wake-up call. I want you to really think about this. Are you choosing your education, or is the world choosing it for you? Because here is the wild truth. Whether we realize it or not, every single day we are being educated by something. You are always learning. The real question is simply, what are you learning? And is it actively helping you become the person you actually want to be? If you're just passively coasting through life, you're leaving your entire education up to chance.
And here's the kicker. If you don't deliberately pick your own teachers, well, the world is more than happy to assign them to you. Distractions, fear, the toxic comments section on social media, other people's random opinions, and your own outdated habits, they will all happily step in to be your instructors. These are the things that educate us by default when we fail to choose our own curriculum. If you let yourself become a passive consumer, these default teachers, they're going to keep you entirely stuck exactly where you are right now.
There's a crazy disconnect happening out there. People desperately want a better life, but they keep feeding their minds the exact same things, day in and day out. It's a straight-up cause and effect. If your goal is more money, the required study is how money actually works: saving, budgeting, investing. If you want better relationships, you have to actively study communication and boundaries. You can't just wish for more discipline and then never study the actual mechanics of habits and focus. An area of your life is only going to improve when your knowledge of that specific area improves.
The source points out a realization here that changes everything. Life doesn't change just because we really want it to change. Life begins to change when we start becoming someone different. You simply cannot stay at your exact current level of thinking and expect to somehow unlock a higher level of living. True transformation means you have to purposefully outgrow your current self. When you decide once and for all that you are not finished growing, that is when you finally stop being a passenger and you take the wheel.
What's absolutely fascinating here is how this breaks down into two fundamental mindsets. Take the phrase, "I already know enough." Now, that might sound like confidence, but actually, it's a massive red flag. It is literally the beginning of a decline. When you think you know enough, your world gets smaller, your opportunities shrink, and the same old problems just keep repeating themselves. Contrast that with the mindset of, "There is always more to learn." These people aren't afraid to be beginners. They never confuse past experience with future wisdom. This is the mindset that keeps expanding, and these are the people who just continually rise. And they rise because the world ultimately pays out for value. And how do you build value? Through knowledge, skill, wisdom, character, and action. Self-education is, without a doubt, the ultimate investment. Just think about it. A job can vanish, a business can go under, the market can crash. But the knowledge locked inside your head, that becomes a permanent part of you. Your skills and your wisdom travel with you everywhere you go. The more you invest in developing yourself, the harder it becomes for life's inevitable setbacks to keep you down.
But okay, we really need to talk about this modern trap of access versus commitment. We have more access to books, podcasts, mentors, and courses than any generation in human history. But having a massive digital library in your pocket doesn't mean anything if you just use it to watch cat videos, right? Access means absolutely nothing without the commitment to actually use it. You have to decide that your future is worth more than another hour of mindless doom scrolling. Now, we all need rest, for sure, but we have to learn to distinguish between the kind of rest that genuinely restores our energy and the kind of endless distraction that is slowly stealing our future.
So, what's the fix? The good news here is that escaping this trap doesn't require some grueling 3-hour daily boot camp. Honestly, just 15. 15 is the magic number. If you dedicate just 15 minutes a day to reading, listening to one useful lesson, or practicing one single skill, think about where you'll be a year from now.
Time is going to pass either way, Just 15 minutes of daily, intentional self-education compounds massively over time. It leaves you sharper, way more confident, and just vastly more prepared for opportunities when they finally knock.
Think of your brain exactly like a muscle. We would never expect to get physically strong eating nothing but absolute junk food, right? Yet we wake up, immediately feed our minds pure noise, and then wonder why we feel mentally sluggish and behind all day. If you feed your mind value, it gets sharp. If you feed it noise, like gossip, fear, or those endless push notifications, it gets tired, scattered, and insecure. A hungry, undernourished mind simply cannot build a strong life. When you actually commit to feeding your mind every day, 3 huge things happen. First, you get real confidence. Not that fake, loud, bravado kind of confidence, but the quiet kind, built through thorough preparation. Second, sharper thinking. You start understanding cause and effect, you notice patterns, and you stop making the exact same mistakes just wearing different disguises. And third, adaptability. In a world where entire industries and technologies are shifting constantly, you aren't terrified of change because you deeply trust your own ability to learn whatever you need to know. This sharper thinking, it completely rewires the voice in your head. A scattered mind asks really weak, victim-focused questions like, why is my life so hard? Or why does this always happen to me? But an educated, nourished mind pivots to powerful questions. You start asking, okay, what skill do I need to build here? Or what pattern am I repeating? Or even, what are successful people doing right now that I'm completely ignoring? The quality of your questions determines the quality of your growth, and daily learning entirely upgrades those questions.
Now, this next point from the source material is absolutely crucial. That hits hard, doesn't it? Learning without application is just entertainment in disguise. You can read hundreds of books, watch a million explainer videos, and collect thousands of inspirational quotes on your phone, but if you never change your habits or make a new decision, you are literally just entertaining yourself. The goal of self-study isn't to know more just so you sound smart at dinner parties. The goal is to actually live better because of what you know. So how do we avoid falling into that entertainment trap? By turning that knowledge into real power through immediate action. Take these highly actionable examples. If you learned something about discipline today, go practice it today. Read about money. Go change one financial habit right now. Communication? Go have one noticeably better conversation this afternoon. Knowledge only becomes true power when it exits your notebook and actually enters your behavior. When you do that every single day, the quality of your choices improves and your life inevitably moves forward. When you actually apply what you learn, you stop just reacting to everything and you start acting like a top-tier doctor. Think about it. A good doctor doesn't just look at a symptom and guess. They investigate to find the root cause. Without applied knowledge, people spend years just treating symptoms, arguing about the exact same tiny things, just completely guessing at solutions. But with knowledge, you diagnose. You suddenly realize the problem might not be that you're unlucky. It might just be that you haven't learned the specific skill this season of your life requires.
This gives us a real, practical roadmap for tackling literally any challenge. You don't just sit around wishing for things to get better. A wish is just saying, I hope this improves. Instead, you learn what's happening. You understand it. You make a decision. You act on it. You adjust based on whatever happens, and then you grow. The more you loop through this exact process, instead of just crossing your fingers and guessing, the stronger and more resilient your life is going to become.
We're going to wrap up this explainer with one final incredibly powerful question you need to start asking yourself. Because daily learning is really about respecting your future, you need to use this as a filter for your life. Will this help the person I am becoming? Before you spend your time, before you spend your hard-earned money, before you choose what to watch or who to listen to, ask yourself that. Every single choice is a vote for your future self. So I'm leaving you with a challenge today. Make one commitment to learn one thing that moves your life forward and apply it. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for the new year. Start today. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep becoming.